Now let us go to question number 51. This is an organic chemistry question. 4 statements are given. We will have to identify how many of these 4 statements are not correct. First one says, a meso compound has chiral centers but exhibits no optical activity. That is a correct statement. It contains, as for example, meso-tartaric acid or meso-2,3-dibromobutane. As take as for example any other compound that will contain 2 chiral centers, but they exhibit no optical activity because they are internally compensated. So that is a correct statement. So that cannot be included, because we are asked to find out which is a wrong statement or which is not a correct statement. The second one is, a meso compound has no chiral centers and thus are optically inactive. That is also not correct, because it contains, it is given there as no chiral centers. Meso compound does contain a chiral center. As for example, this is meso 2,3-dibromobutane. We will just simply, we will take a very simple example. This is actually known as meso 2,3-dibromobutane. This contains 2 chiral centers, but still it is not optically active. Thus are optically, it is not because of the absence, but because of some other reason it is optically inactive. Therefore, the statement number 2, B, is not correct, because you have to identify which is not correct. A is the correct statement. Which is not correct, we will have to identify. Third statement says, C says, a meso compound has molecules which are superimposable on their mirror images even though they contain chiral centers. That is also not correct statement. B and C is also not a correct statement. When you read the statement again, you will find a meso compound has molecules which are superimposable on their mirror images even though they contain chiral centers. That is not a correct statement. And the last statement is, namely, so the B and C are not correct statements. We will have to identify how many of them are not correct. We have identified 2 out of the 3. Let us go to the 4th statement now. The 4th statement says, a meso compound is optically active because the rotation is caused by any molecule is cancelled by equal and opposite rotation caused by another molecule, that is the mirror image of the first. Actually, it is optically inactive because of internal compensation, because you find when you draw a mirror, assume this is the mirror, this is exactly the reflection of this. Therefore, each one is superimposable, mirror image, some sort of a mirror plane of symmetry is available. So, the statement D is a correct statement. Therefore, A and D are correct statements and B and C are not correct statements. The question asks these, how many of the following statements are not correct? So, the answer to this question will be B and C.